Here's the thing, I know I did a video essay about how fantastic Tim Drake is as a character, and I stand by what I said. Tim's an awesome character. His detective skills are just as great, if not better than Batman's. He was a fantastic leader of the Teen Titans during G.F. John's run, and Ra's al Ghul showed him massive respect by calling him detective, a title he only addresses Batman as. But the more and more I think about it, the more I realize that DC has not been handling the Tim Drake character very well.
Oh, was it Tim Drake? Nobody cares about Tim Drake.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, don't get me wrong, when the character was first introduced, it definitely felt like DC had a solid plan for the character. In the late 80s, 1990s, and 2000s, Tim Drake was definitely treated well. But in recent years, I can't think of many examples that show us that DC Comics had a solid plan for the character. In this video, I'm gonna go over what went wrong with the Tim Drake character, and hopefully after watching this video, DC Comics will start to treat the character with the respect he deserves. But before we move on, please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Rebirth Comics. You do not want to miss out on our awesome content. Now, I think it's more than fair to say that you know who Tim Drake is. After Jason Todd, the second Robin, died, Batman became pretty hardcore. Tim Drake, as a 14-year-old kid, deduced that Dick Grayson was Robin and Bruce is Batman after he saw Robin do a quadruple somersault, a feat that only a flying Grayson can achieve. He tried convincing Dick Grayson to come back to Gotham and be Batman's Robin again, but he refused since he hated working with Bruce and enjoyed his own independence as Nightwing. After Batman and Nightwing got captured by Two-Face, Tim suited up as Robin to help them out. Ever since, Tim Drake became Batman's third Robin. He was different from Dick and Jason in the sense that he wasn't as athletically gifted as them, but his detective skills are much stronger than theirs. He's always been regarded as one of the brightest characters in the Bat family. So right off the bat, there's a lot to love about the character. He's accomplished an amazing feat by figuring out Batman and Robin's identity. He's an underdog since he's not as gifted as a martial artist compared to the other Robins, but since he's really bright, he more than makes up for this with his detective skills. And if you think about it, he's the most independent Robin. Since he grew up in a normal family, he didn't have that same family bond that Dick and Jason had with Bruce. That pretty much changed after his mother got murdered by Obeah in Haiti and his dad got murdered by Captain Boomerang, but you get the point. When he was starting out, his identity wasn't fully tied to Batman, which is pretty interesting. Right off the bat, he's not defined by tragedy and he has his own unique set of strengths and weaknesses that differentiate him from each member in the Bat family. Now, I don't know about you, but it felt like Tim had a lot of purpose in Batman stories when he was first introduced. There was a fantastic reason as to why he was needed. He was needed because Batman needs a Robin, and that, by the way, was a void that Dick Grayson could not fill at the time. Tim Drake at the time helped Bruce deal with the guilt over what happened with Jason Todd. Tim helped pull him out of his self-loathing and helped him find some happiness once again in his life. Tim pulled Bruce out of the darkness and helped him feel human once again. Personally, I love the interpersonal drama between the two of them. Bruce was very overprotective of Tim given what happened to Jason. So Tim often felt sidelined as he didn't get a lot of opportunities to prove himself to Batman. Now, aside from helping out Batman, he got amazing character development in the 1990s and the 2000s. In the Chuck Dixon Robin series, Tim traveled the world by himself to hone his fighting skills and solve mysteries. I personally loved it when he got training from Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva has beaten Batman a bunch of times in the comics, so he definitely got the best training a person can get in the DC universe. And when G.F. John's Teen Titans series came around, Tim gained a lot of confidence as a leader. Like Dick did with his roster of Titans, Tim grew into a person that got a ton of respect from powerful metahumans. And it was awesome when he became his own man when he took on the Red Robin mantle. After Bruce died at the hands of Darkseid, Tim was not convinced. Hence, after Damian Wayne took his place as Robin to Dick Grayson's Batman, Tim traveled the world as Red Robin to find Bruce Wayne. And like I said earlier, he gained the respect of Ra's al Ghul when he referred to Tim as detective in that Red Robin series. And to prove that he's an even bigger badass, he proved everyone wrong since he was the only one that was right about Bruce actually being alive. It turns out that Bruce got sent back in time after he got hit by Darkseid's Omega Beams, and he was finding his way back to his original timeline. But that's besides the point. The point is that in the 1980s, 90s, and 2000s, Tim had amazing character development. He proved himself as Robin by helping Batman get past his self-loathing. He proved he can handle things by himself in the Chuck Dixon series. He proved that he's an amazing leader in the G.F. John's Teen Titans run. And he proved he can operate independently as Red Robin. Now, I don't know about you, but it felt like DC did not know how to handle the Tim Drake character after that point in time. When DC Comics got rebooted and the New 52 continuity got started, I can't think of anything memorable that happened to Tim Drake. Now, don't get me wrong, he had a pretty sweet Red Robin costume, but aside from that, nothing really fun or cool happened with that character. And when we got to the Rebirth continuity, it was almost like Tim Drake experienced a character regression. He took on the Red Robin title, but his costume pretty much looked like a Robin costume. Instead of one R, he had two, and he had a lot of green in his costume, which pretty much made him look like Robin. I mean, why would you call yourself Red Robin if there's a lot of green in your costume? And in the Rebirth continuity, Tim was back in Gotham helping Batman out instead of operating independently. Which really sucks if you think about it. Instead of being his own man, he's back to being Batman's sidekick once again. To be fair, there was some interesting things that happened with the character. In the Rebirth continuity, he struggled with his identity as Robin, especially after Damian Wayne came into the picture. He had some nice interpersonal drama going on with Stephanie Brown, otherwise known as Spoiler. He had a brief romantic relationship with her, and yeah, there's always that elephant in the room when they're together, but I gotta admit, I don't know what they were trying to do with this one. For a while, Tim Drake got captured by the villain Mr. Oz, who was revealed to be Superman's dad, Jor-El. Jor-El took him far away from Earth to another planet, then he ran into a future version of himself as Batman from the Titans Tomorrow future. Then he just escapes back to Gotham, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any idea as to why Jor-El wanted to capture Tim Drake, please let me know in the comment section because I don't have a clue. And then there was the decision to make Tim Drake a bisexual man, which was both fantastic and pretty gimmicky. Obviously, representation matters. It's fantastic that queer people can be seen through the lens of superhero narratives. It's fantastic that Tim never felt any shame or embarrassment over his queer identity. It's great that he found happiness and joy with his new boyfriend Bernard, and it's amazing that the Bat family was so supportive of Tim. The only issue that I have with this is that his queer identity is pretty much the focal point of his character now, and it pretty much looks like DC Comics did this because they had no idea what to do with his character. This might sound like an odd thing to say, but I like it when a character just happens to be queer. When a character is just objectified based on their sexual identity and that alone, stories usually run into some problems. There was this one character Marvel tried to introduce, and guess how they marketed the guy? They marketed the new Marvel character Aaron Fisher as the first gay Captain America. Right off the bat, this character is just objectified based off of his sexuality. Forget his unique sense of individuality or any cool nuances or passion or depth that the guy has. When the character first got introduced, his sexuality is put at the forefront. And that was pretty much it to the character. In my experience, I saw a lot of other queer characters handled better. Take Mr. Terrific from the Arrow TV show as an example. When the character was first introduced, we learned that he was a former bronze decathlon Olympian and a genius holding a bunch of PhDs. There was a couple of casual references to his boyfriend and some interpersonal drama with his partner, but aside from that, his character development had nothing to do with his sexuality. To make a long story short, Curtis Holt wanted to become a more efficient superhero, but he struggled learning hand-to-hand combat. So he used his strengths to make up for his weaknesses. He used his technological genius to develop T-spheres, which gave him an edge when fighting criminals. His development had him go from a superhero in training to Mr. Terrific, a hero that's really unique in his own right. So yeah, Mr. Terrific just happened to be gay. He wasn't hiding parts of himself, he wasn't ashamed of who he was as a person, he was a queer character who got amazing character development. Tim Drake, on the other hand, did not get this treatment. He got amazing character development in the post-Infinite Crisis era, then he barely got any in the New 52 continuity, and then DC Comics decided to make him a bisexual man in the Rebirth continuity, because I guess they wanted more representation in their lineup of characters. Personally, I find it great that Tim Drake is bisexual. I just want him to have amazing character development. I want him flying solo and facing off against Ra's al Ghul like he did in the post-Infinite Crisis era. I want him to be a badass in his own right. Cause DC, let me tell you, there should be no excuses with Tim Drake. You guys managed to give other Bat Family characters amazing treatment. Nightwing, for instance, got amazing treatment during his Rebirth era. My boy Dick Grayson was not only at the pinnacle of healthy masculinity in all of DC Comics during Tom Taylor's run, but he also became the leader of the Justice League. When the Justice League disbanded, Nightwing stepped up and led his team to become the protectors of the entire world. So believe me when I say this, there should be no excuse for Tim Drake. There's such a huge abundance of Batman villains in Gotham for Tim Drake to go up against by himself. Personally, I think he's outgrown his sidekick mantle. I don't like seeing him be so dependent on other Bat Family characters to help him out all the time. It would be cool if they gave the character Doctor Who treatment, as in just have it so that Tim relies on his wits and resourcefulness to beat his villains like the Doctor does. Heroes don't always have to physically dominate maniacs into submission for the story to be entertaining. In fact, there was plenty of times when Batman just outsmarted his villains to save the day. For instance, in Batman the Animated Series, when Bruce got captured by the ventriloquist, he didn't use violence to stop the guy. He just imitated the Scarface dummy's voice to turn Arnold Wesker against him. For those of you who don't know, Arnold Wesker, aka the ventriloquist, has a rare form of dissociative identity disorder where he expresses his alter through the Scarface dummy. Batman just imitated Scarface's voice to turn Arnold against him, which was just brilliant and sad at the same time, but you get the point. There's so much potential for the Tim Drake character. Batman's amazing, but he cannot be in two places at once. Having Tim face off against Batman's villains while he's doing something else would be a really cool thing to see. And don't even get me started on how he was treated in the Titan show. The guy ran around as Robin without any training whatsoever. The guy was so bad that he died at one point in the series. Of course, he came back to life again because it's a comic book show, but what made me mad about his character development was that it was just so rushed. When he came back from the dead, he had one training session with Jason Todd, and all of a sudden, the guy was an amazing Robin. Like, how ridiculous is that? In Arrow, it took Oliver Queen 5 years to become an amazing fighter. But in Titans, it took Tim Drake 1 day to achieve that. In fairness, he was characterized well in the New Adventures with Batman and Robin and Young Justice, but he was more of a supporting character in those animated shows. If anyone from DC Comics is listening, please give Tim Drake the storytelling treatment he deserves. Make him a badass in his own right. Make him independent and make sure that he's respected well amongst his teammates. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. DC, just please give Tim Drake the love he deserves. But what do you think? Do you think Tim Drake has been treated well in the comics? What do you think should be done with the character? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. As always, thanks a million for watching. Please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Rebirth Comics so that you do not miss out on our awesome content. Stay groovy.